You step through the kitchen doorway holding a spoon like it's a question mark. The apartment air changes, cooler, quieter, and your purpose dissolves. For 3 seconds, you stand there, scanning drawers and light, hunting for a thought that used to be sharp enough to move your feet. Then the blankness widens, and it feels absurd that 4 steps could erase an intention. We usually blame this on distraction. Too many tabs open, not enough sleep, a brain spoiled by notifications, or we shrug and call it aging, a soft joke with a hard edge. But the spoon in your hand suggests something more precise. The glitch doesn't happen anywhere, it happens at the threshold. In 2011, a team at the University of Notre Dame, led by psychologist Gabriel Radvansky, built a strange memory obstacle course. People picked up a virtual object, a geometric shape, and carried it across a room on a computer screen. Sometimes they crossed the room without leaving it. Sometimes they passed through a virtual doorway into a new room. At random points, they were quizzed, "What are you carrying?" The results were small but consistent. Crossing a doorway made people worse at remembering the object they had just picked up. The effect held, even when the total walking distance was the same. It wasn't the time or the steps that mattered, it was the boundary. Rabansky called it a location updating effect. The brain seemed to treat the doorway like the end of a scene and the start of another. This isn't magic, it's housekeeping. Your working memory is fast but cramped, like a great assistant who can only hold a few sticky notes at once. Event boundaries are how the brain wipes the notes that feel done so it can write new ones. A doorway is a big, obvious boundary. New light, new acoustics, a new map of affordances. The story changes rooms, so the props on stage get swapped. Neuroscientist Jeffrey Sachs and colleagues have spent years studying this process, calling it event segmentation theory. Your brain constantly predicts what should happen next. When the prediction error spikes, new place, new goal, new people, it slices time into chapters. Those slices become anchors for memory. You don't store everything. You store the moment the chapter turned. Under the hood, structures in the medial or temporal lobes, especially the hippocampus, bind experience to context. That binding is powerful. In 1975, Alan Baddeley and Duncan Godin sent divers underwater to learn lists of words. When they tested them on land, performance dropped. Bring the divers back underwater and recall improved. Same words, different context. Memory cares about the room as much as the thing. So when you step across a doorway, your brain quietly asks, "New chapter?" If the answer is yes, it reallocates attention. Background goals, like get the scissors, can lose their front row seat if they aren't actively rehearsed. Like it's as if the mind files your intention in the previous chapter and opens a blank page for what this room usually demands. There's a wrinkle though. Not every study finds a big doorway effect. Some replications in real spaces or virtual reality report tiny or vanishing differences, especially when people carry fewer items in memory or the tasks are simple. That's actually part of the story. The effect grows when your working memory is busy, when you're juggling two ideas, or when your goal shifts mid-stride. It's not a superstition. It's a context tax that appears when the ledger is already crowded. Think about micro boundaries in your day. The subway turnstile, the elevator ding, the moment your email client opens full screen. Each one feels like a neutral transition, but your predictive machinery treats them like cuts in a film. New scene, new cast, new probable actions. Your brain bets on what is likely in that setting, type, swipe as a reply, and discards what feels off script. Evolution makes this strategy look less like a bug and more like survival math. Imagine a hunter stepping from dense forest into an exposed meadow. The relevant predictions flip instantly. Wind direction, sightlines, the silhouette you cast. You do not want your mind replaying which berries were ripest back there. When the new scene demands, which way does danger travel here? As boundaries keep you alive by prioritizing what matters now, there's a cost, of course. The system that protects you from yesterday's predators also loses today's grocery list. Our modern world amplifies those costs. Apartments carve space into many small rooms. Jobs carve time into many small tasks. You cross a dozen thresholds before breakfast: bedroom, bathroom, closet, inbox, and each one tempts your memory to reset. Digital life adds invisible doorways. A notification is a pocket-sized threshold. New color palette, new social rules, new micro goal. You step through for a second just to check, and when you step back, you've forgotten what you were about to Google. The scene changed, and the prop fell through trap. If I step through trapdoor. So, what can you do? One trick is embarrassingly simple and surprisingly effective. Carry the intention as a physical token. If you're going to the other room for tape, pinch two fingers together like you're already holding it. The body acts as a sticky cake note. Another is to say the goal out loud before and after the boundary. Tape in the drawer. You're giving the new scene a line that smuggles the old scene's plot across. A deeper tactic steals from eyewitness psychology. The cognitive interview often begins with context reinstatement. Close your eyes, reconstruct the room, the sounds, the angle of light. You can do the same. If the purpose evaporates in the doorway, step back and look at the chair you were in, touch the book you had open, smell the coffee. Reactivate the chapter, and the intention often reappears like a caption over the image. There's also the power of if-then planning, what psychologist Peter Govitzer calls implementation intentions. Tie the goal to a cue that will survive the scene change. If I pass the hallway photo, I will remember the tape. The hallway photo becomes a switch installed across chapters. When you cross, it flips. And sometimes the right move is less heroic. Accept that forgetting at doorways is the price you pay for a brain that edits. You are not broken. You are using a system tuned to cut a chaotic film into like watchable scenes, and the occasional lost line is part of how the story stays coherent. But here's a stranger thought, like maybe the doorway glitch is an invitation. When an intention slips away, you get a free beat to ask, what demands this room makes of me that I usually ignore? The kitchen wants water, the window wants to be opened, the hallway wants a pause longer than a commute. A boundary can be a blindfold, but it can also be a bell. Later, you find yourself again at the threshold, spoon in hand, world divided by a wooden frame. You plant your feet, you whisper the line you want to carry across, and you step not to defeat your brain's editing, but to direct it. Chapters are inevitable. What you smuggle between them is a kind of authorship. The doorway doesn't erase who you were 5 seconds ago. It asks who you are now and whether you choose what crosses with you.